God mode.
Hello everybody, welcome to Wyrd and Wyld on the God Mode channel. This is session 62, Prickly Things. I'm Jason the DM, who's joining me this fine Friday night.
Hello everyone, I am Bailey. I will be playing Elanalue. She is an androgynous, fabulous Eidolon who is a College of Glamour bard.
Hey everybody, I'm a very tired Luke, and I'm playing Aesop, Kinku Alchemist.
What's up? My name's Kevin. I play Sun Kong, your apeling, bionoid monk following the way of the abundant spirits.
My name's Slim, and I'm playing Rincaz. And although I can't ascend to godhood anymore, I guess I'm just a lizard folk fighter under the martial archetype of the gunslinger.
No one said you couldn't.
I'm Kyle, I'm playing Farelobero! She's an arcane trickster, and she is going to do everything she can to get Rincaz back on that planet, because that was too fun.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick. I play in VD, half-elf celestial warlock, Pact of the Tome, and I have the most phenomenal familiar of all time, a pseudo-dragon named Jira.
Thank you everybody who is popping into our stream or conversely popping in to watch the rebroadcast or VOD. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Anybody in the chat? Angel of Light, T-Bird. Thank you guys. Our buddy Looney isn't here yet. Maybe he'll pop in sometime. But either way, I appreciate it. Thank you everybody, those of you who have also followed us. Don't forget, if you follow us, you get a whole bunch of weird bits that you can use on cool stuff like buying the party inspiration, weird bit pieces to use as exchange for currency, or also to build rooms on their ship, which is kind of like their own castle, or other cool stuff like a little character at the bottom of the screen. So all kinds of cool stuff. If you want to check it out, all those details are below on our Twitch page in the panel section. In terms of the avatar, the stream avatars, if you guys are trying to watch via your phone or something like that, I'll post the little extension to pull it up so you can more easily control your character and have fun with them. Digital gift cards. It's the end of the month, or the week before the end of the month, and because of that, we're going to be releasing and trying to test out another digital gift card giveaway. Last time it was on the stream itself. I asked a question and I had you guys try and answer. Didn't really get anybody answering, so this time we're going to test it out. After this session, a question will be asked via Twitter, and you can see the link below on our Twitch page. If you go to the Twitter, you'll want to answer the question that's posed after the session. Remember, you're going to want to DM me. Don't answer it in the replies. You want to DM me with your answer, and I'll also put a little blurb in there probably to ask for your email or something so I can make sure and get the gift card to you if you answer correctly. So keep an eye out for that. After this session, we'll be posting something up, something easy, something that if you've been following the last 2, maybe 1 sessions you could pick up on. Something fun for you guys to interact with and check out. That is all of my precursor shit. So let's move on and hand out some inspiration.
Oh yes!
Give.
Give daddy some inspo.
You're not daddy.
You'll never be daddy.
I get 2. I get let's see. I get gain an extra bonus action this turn, gain advantage on your next d20 roll, and increase your speed by 30 feet. Hey, I like this card.
Anybody need 3 AC on their next turn?
Not I.
All right. If you guys are all done switching and swapping, why don't we roll some die to see who wants to give the recap from last session?
Oh, I was on mute. Does anybody have that one that gives disadvantage and want to trade?
No.
What is my... I have giant skin.
Get fucked, VD! Get absolutely shredded.
I'm not.
The Zoople.
I ain't even been playing that game.
Come on, Sun Kong. What's the worst that can happen?
Roll a
I
1.
can't get the recap. No.
Do it.
After Glace gives the most perfect recap before we join the stream.
It was pretty Succinct.
Thorough.
Luckily, we're not in the weird anymore in BD. That's one plus. But yeah, what happened last time on Weird and Wild?
Well, we were stuck in the jungle of Thornweald, and it was pretty bad. And we were kind of chasing ghosts in the forest, trying to find our way. But we were able to meet up with Rascal and come up with a plan to get the big shapeshifter guy. We were gonna lure him to the big field where the geysers were, and put some Aesop's dye in the geyser so we could paint our target, be able to take him out before he turned back into plants. So we were able to make our way there with Elanalue, and we were able to beat the big bad transforming plant guy pretty spectacularly. There was a net involved. We kind of made him glow with fairy fire, and then we just kind of did our thing. After we did that, we met up with Rana's people. That's the captive wild elf lady. She gave us our crystal communicator back, which is pretty good because now we can get back in our ship, because it's not good to be locked out of the ship. And then Elanalue was able to lead us through the jungle to meet up with some like wardens, like lizard people on lizard back or mount back, or they were riding something. It was crazy. Iguanas, yeah. And they were able to lead us all the way into the village in the tree chops, and we're now there.
Yes, you guys reached Thornweald last session after having a couple sessions of some wacky adventures in the Kintaris Valley that actually was an area covered in the weird. Luckily, all of those effects are gone, and you guys are free from all the horrible things that had happened to you. Fortunately, Aesop's eyes turned from gold back to normal eyes, so he will not be able to make money off of that.
I forgot about that.
I take my clairvoyant eye back, and I'm sure Fod does the same.
Yes. Before we jump into Thornweald itself, though,
Doesn't Vidi get a weird bit for the recap?
in Vidi, you find a weird bit in your pockets with which to keep to yourself or toss into the pile.
Did I
Aesop,
get one last week?
I got one of these things.
You would have
I
gotten
added-
one.
I added one to the pot last week.
Okay.
At the end of the session.
So, everyone had reached Thornweald. Rincaz, as you reach Thornweald, riding along, thankful now that the gear and clothing on your body has once again become visible.
Oh yeah, he was naked too.
Yeah.
Fuck, I almost forgot about that. That was the least weird thing that happened.
Probably, yeah. You, during the trip, as the reptile-like mounts clasp from one massive tree trunk to another, making their way above this just tangle of what looked like a mixture of both massive vines with almost like head-sized thorns on them, and also just various brambles of your normal like thicket of thorns and vine work. It looks like if you were to fall down to the surface, it would certainly hurt, and you clearly now understand the need to have some type of mount with some type of climbing capability to traverse the through the trees instead of trying to cover any area here through the tangled timber on foot, as it looks pretty impossible due to the just massive overgrowth. As this is happening and as you're being escorted to Thornweald, you reminisce back on the days with which you were a prisoner. In your mind, you see yourself along with a collection of other lizard folk and dragonborn in a group together aboard the ship that you remember being called the Malavelator, a massive scroll battle wagon under the service of the Iron Empire. This is where you had been taken prisoner, meant to be used as a slave. However, being put in a closed-off area kept behind cages along with other similar lizard folk and dragonborn, you realize upon speaking a little bit of Draconic with them that your particular group here is a bit rougher around the edges than some of the other prisoners. And working together, you each use a little bit of your grit and muscle to attempt a prison break. You are each able to escape, and working together formed a plan where you would help provide a defensive wall while the more magically inclined of your group made a gunning for the heavily guarded spelljamming helm. You know from your experiences with the Scrow during your time as this prisoner that the Scrow are not stupid. They are similar to orcs in some ways, but their military presence and their combat tactics you almost regrettably have to admire. So you were fending off the walkways, providing support to a separate team who was going to try and make their way to the Spelljammer helm in the hopes that if they could arrest control of the helm, even for just a small amount of time, it would give all of you a chance to commandeer some of the goblin blades as a transport to a nearby jungle world with which the ship could be steered a bit off course, and the goblin blades could make pursuit towards it. You remember the Goblin Blades are the smaller ships that you've seen in various points throughout the campaign, most recently on Neo Gokyo up in the air. The smaller, they're like the 2 or 3 person smaller shuttles, but still serve as spelljamming ships. You remember when doing this that there were other prisoners on this level. And because you were on this ship, this battle wagon, it was pretty vast. And so you had specifically decided that you and your group, as well as the other half of the team, would split up so that each of you could go to opposite ends of this level and begin to release prisoners, as many as you could. As you have formulated these plans and get ready to enact them, there is in the team who is going to go to the other side a lizard folk that comes to your mind. Around your age, a female with a relatively unique, more yellowish hue to her scales than what would be the standard. She turns to you and, before heading off with her team, says, "You've helped us so much. What's your name?" Rincaz.
Oh, I think he's on mute.
Oh.
I almost instinctively said Kasakato.
No!
Rincaz.
With that, she says, "Thank you, Rincaz. Whatever happens, this one won't forget you," she says. And with this, she departs with a few other members of her group, and they begin their process of trying to do their best on the other side of this vast level to set as many of the prisoners free of various races that are kept here as potential slaves, or either to be used at some point somewhere on some other worlds under the Iron Empire's grip. They depart off. You watch as your group, as well as the others in the far distance, travel across the vast halls of the quarters. You set out to free the prisoners and hopefully point the way to the blades as a means of escape, knowing that there would be quite a few on a ship of this size. As this happens, there is a vast and ear-shattering sound as you notice the whole of the entire ship being torn in twain.
Oops.
Metal and shrapnel is thrown past you and into some of those around you as you try not to crash into the ceiling from the retching blast that seems to be tearing the ship practically in half. As you quickly gather yourself, you look on to see the ship being torn in two, the culprit being a massive rift that swirls with color now that you can see out in wild space. Its appearance practically having bisected the larger portion of this battle wagon spelljammer as it fades into a bright swirling rift in wild space, leaving your smaller section of the battle wagon bereft of the larger ship as it begins to float on aimlessly in wild space. Quickly gathering yourself from the tear that has happened, you try to look around and see if there are any other of the lizard folk or dragonborn similar to your kind and see if they're okay. You can't make out any of the team on the other side of the ship as that entire portion had been sucked through this rift. You pull yourself against the gravity of the ship as it lurches, having been thrown off from the larger portion. You see no one around and decide yourself to attempt to make it to a goblin blade. Before you reach it, you're able to at least come across another of your kind. You quickly ask them whether they are inclined to have magical properties, and they say no, unfortunately. You point them out to a separate goblin blade, and each of you quickly jumps inside. You realize that without the ability to use magic, Rincaz, that you cannot properly pilot this goblin blade. However, because of the tear in the entirety of the ship, the pull of the nearby planetoid slowly pulls your goblin blade out from the cargo bay that has been torn asunder. And you watch now inside the goblin blade out of the front portholes from within the blade as the ship is tossed from the landing bay and begins hurtling toward the nearby jungle planet as its gravity pulls you towards it. The landing isn't easy, but luckily, because of the vast canopy that covers a nearby jungle area, it largely breaks the fall. There are certainly nicks and bruises, and you may have even broken a bone or two, but the ship lands. As you come out from having blacked out from the crash, taking a moment to assess your wounds, you pull open the hatch at the top of the blade, peering out and looking around the outside here. You see the vastness of a jungle in front of you and can see the mangled mess of the exterior of this goblin blade during its ascent. It looks like it's in a bad shape. You can also see in the distance, as you smell the leaves and the wetness from the area surrounding here, looking upon the vastness of the jungle exterior that surrounds this area, you can actually see falling metal debris and shrapnel from huge chunks of the smaller portion of the ship that is beginning to shift by the planet. You take a second just to soak it all in. You hope to yourself that you were able to free as many as you could, and hopefully they were able to make their escape. Unsure of where the larger portion of the battle wagon went, and what this huge hole or rift in space was to begin with. As you're pondering these things, you hear a shifting through the nearby grass. You quickly begin to wrestle towards some of the weaponry that you were able to pull during your time of your escape. A pistol and a rifle along with you. You keep your eyes peeled and shifting through the jungle as you now, in the current timeline, arrive at Thornweald. Remember the kind thought of seeing an old friend who at the time was a stranger, a Yuan-Ti, push through the nearby shrubbery to see what all this hubbub was about. With that, we will shift back over to Thornweald as you guys arrive.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Sorry, was that the fabled Kaz?
Yeah.
It was cats.
Rest in
Old
power,
dwarf
Kaz.
Sorcerer.
Who's a good bird? I'm good lizard.
Snake,
He's
you'll get there.
He's
You'll get
one
there.
of those things. Look,
He's
he's
a
one of those
phenomenal
things.
whale. Like, fuck.
Technically, dinosaurs are all of those things that I just mentioned.
It's all
Danger Noodle.
Danger Noodle.
You guys had just arrived in Thornweald. You watch as the various levels, you can count on one hand 4 or 5, maybe more, but the thickness of the surrounding forestry, as well as the just vast number of vines that even permeate the area that is a considerable amount of stories off of the floor of the jungle / forested area here, still seem to be a bit of a problem. You notice that there are a number of various creatures who are using machetes, and you even see what looks to be in the distance the small red and orangish tint of what looks like maybe flame that they're using to some extent, although you're not sure the exact details, that they seem to be trying to keep the vine work quelled. The mounts and the guards bring you to one of the lower levels and point you out to a nearby stairwell, telling you that at the top floor of Thornweald is where you will find most of the commerce area, where most of the wild knots and other traders from nearby settlements go to meet and do their business at. They also mentioned that if you're trying to find out information, that is a good place to start, whether it be by shopkeep or who they mentioned was the one in charge here on Thornweald, a creature by the name of Bata Ogo. With that, they let you off, and you watch as they continue to traverse through the large tree trunks, their reptile-like mounts crawling across the trunks and throwing sometimes a tail out to grab a branch and pull them to the next as they continue their patrol after having dropped you off. You ascend the stairs, finding 2 dragonborn-like, or rather lizard folk-like guards standing at attention. They take notice of you and continue standing at attention, leaving the area of Thornweald to you. The ball is in your court. What would you guys like to do from here?
Was there shopping that we wanted to do at all? Because I know there was shops around here.
You hear quite a few voices and what sounds like some commerce happening in this area. The jingle of coin, the shifting of what look like the occasional scaly and sometimes simian humanoid moving by with what looks like crates of supplies and stuff like that. Looks like this would be an area to buy things should you so want to.
Well, does anyone need any supplies now that we're out of that dreadful jungle?
I doubt that the lizards make bullets, so I'm good.
Was there a list of the shops in the area?
Yeah, what was I saying?
Yes, I can give
It's
you
in
a
y'all's
list.
journal.
There
Lazy.
you go. If you'll scroll down to the bottom, you'll see Thornweald.
Let's look at the adventuring gear. Just take a look-see here. I don't need any of this.
So, Rincaz, where's our next destination, you think? Who do we need to talk to?
Well, though we have left the Wyrd, I may be feeling a bit different and back to my normal colors and shapes, but I wink at it. Ascension is still on the rise.
Oh no! Oh God! It wasn't the weird. It was permanent.
Can I go to the books and maps merchant after?
Yeah.
Sure. You head over to the books and maps merchant. There is sign work up here, seeing that it is the Thornweald is the hub for a lot of the nearby trading that happens around the settlements. So you imagine that there are a number of foreign or traveling people who come through here, and you notice now some of the areas throughout this top level here that there are guides indicating the various shops and stuff like that. You, Sun Kong, head over to Facts Fiction, finding a somewhat young-looking but still adult lizard folk who has yellowish scales. She is tending to the books and turns to greet you, offering her wares.
Can I ask her if she has a accurate map?
Let us take a look at the shop stuff that I just closed.
My book that got burned because of Sun Kong's weird fucking freak out was the Forgotten book, and there was only one ever.
No! What?
Oh, no.
Oh shit!
I forgot that
unfortunate.
happened.
It's very terrible.
Ugh!
Must
I
be
wish
forgotten.
it took a midnight tawny tiefling.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to buy a boomerang because that sounds like fun.
Can you? Ooh.
You
Sounds dangerous.
you see Sun Kong rifle through.
Sorry, Glosse, I throw bombs made from my own blood. I think I can handle a fucking
The
boomerang.
bombs don't come back, honey.
They do if I throw them at my feet. Or not. Anyway, I'm also going to get a pie. I feel like a pie. I would like a pie.
Sun Kong pulls a map out and offers it to you. She offers up to medium quality. You guys can roll on the higher tiers. I don't know. I don't know if you have been around for some of this, Kyle. Each merchant carries up to a certain tier, but in our game, you can attempt to see if they have something of a higher tier, but it just requires a kind of luck roll that may be more difficult depending on how high you go.
Do
But
it,
it's a
you
possibility.
coward. Do it.
Oh my god, there's an exotic saddle. I want the exotic saddle.
Why? Why?
Wink.
Fact offers you this, what looks to be like a pretty accurate version of at least the general area, Sun Kong. What it looks like to you for 25 gold pieces.
No, I'll definitely buy that. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
I would
she
like
said.
to. I closed the page by accident. What's the best looking map? I'm trying to find the. I'm in the journal. Sorry. I wanted to try for something better. Because why not?
That's a books and
Yes,
maps
thank you.
merchant.
Can I see if she has a planar map? Or was that too good? Reach for the stars.
Accurately depicts a significant planar location. You can attempt to see if she offers this, but like the end of last session, we may have been off stream, I don't remember. You'll need to make a d20 roll. It will have to be a 16 through 20.
Okay, I'll try.
Pure
Leave in
luck
the heart
roll.
of the cards. Heart of the cards. Yeah!
Ooh!
Heart of the cards, baby.
She looks to you for a second, almost scanning you up and down, seeing that you are not only probably a relatively respectable warrior, but also relatively well equipped, as she notices some of your other teammates shifting through, walking by, doing some shopping themselves, and says, "Yes, this one has something for you," she says as she pulls out a relatively elegant looking scroll and turns it towards you. "This is a bit of an expensive one, and didn't seem to really draw the interest of most here, as most of us are planet-bound. We're groundlings, the large majority of us who work here. However, you may be interested yourself. But
Oh,
it will require 1,000 gold pieces.
I will take that and the other map, and I
Wow.
slide her an extra 25 gold.
All right.
It's a lot of gold for just nothing. You just okay.
1,050
Khan doesn't
gold
negotiate.
pieces.
He knows what he wants, and he just buys. I have the gold. I have over 4,000 gold.
Aesop like paid for the pies and copper.
He's
Why?
charitable, and he doesn't take
To,
gold
to
from
the
them.
copper. Aesop wants no change.
You end up paying her 1,050 gold. She looks very appreciative and says, "Oh, thank you so much. I was hoping someone would take this off my hands." And she happily hands it over to you.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for doing business.
Take care of that scroll. I don't know how many others are in existence.
Hopefully it doesn't just randomly burst into flames, because that seems to happen around us. Bye!
She thinks for a second and then says, "Oh, you must have been to the valley.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Perhaps not go back through that way."
I'm not
Oh.
planning on it. Well, except our ship is back that way, isn't it, guys?
Mhm.
Oh no.
Well, we don't have to roll any dice in there. We'll be fine.
Whatever that means.
There's only a 1 in 10,000 chance of it happening again.
Ha ha ha.
You say that like we won't roll exactly that as soon as we step foot into this
The
place.
chance is the chance, man.
I suggest we all look at the mounts after we're done perusing.
Wait, is there a helper's hand here?
You do notice, looking at the signage that is carved in wood across the various areas here, that there does seem to be one that points to a certain tree trunk with a curtain covering it that leads into, as you now see the carved into the area above it, two hands clasped together with a coin in the center signifying a Helper's Hands Guild.
Just like an alcoholic to a bar or a thief to a back alley, I run there immediately. Excited.
Aesop wipes the gravy off of his beak and follows Rincaz because he's afraid he's going to cause trouble.
Is there food somewhere?
Oh, yes, I point Sun Kong to wherever I bought the pie from. It was the animal parts place.
Food? That's all I care about.
Yeah, it was the... Sorry, I'll get you the thing. It was the food and animal parts merchant, Jinrina Meats.
You, Sun Kong, watching Aesop pass by, watching him finish off a delicious-looking pie, now pick up the scent of what smells like various meats and other foods that is just south of the bookseller, looking down to see Jinrina, this interesting-looking... What she kind of looks similar to the Arana that you met before, and that she looks to be of some elven descent, but certainly has a bit more of a wild look to her. All of her clothing seems to be made up of just sort of like the natural elements around here, and she has various body paint that is covering her. She is currently taking what looks to be like a metal cleaver and just kind of cutting through various meats. She throws a head up to greet you as you enter and offers her wares as you are able to kind of peer around and see the various tables where there are all kinds of foods and things displayed out for you to look over. Aesop. Oh, go ahead, Sun Kong.
No, I just throw my head in her. It smells good in here.
I can see this. I can see this in my head, and it's really funny.
And I just grab the closest table and grab a menu.
It's like one of those things where this person is just like, this is just their like day-to-day job, and like the person that really loves the place walks in and is like super enthusiastic, and they have to play along. Like, yeah, man, we got some great stuff for you today.
So excited for some food. Oh,
there looks to be a nearby dragonborn at what looks like some type of maybe like ledger table or some type of bookkeeping table. There's various notes and pieces of paper on there. You see him sort of lift an eyebrow, looking up to you for just a second, then goes back down writing with a quill. The food here smells delicious, Sunkong. Aesop, you wiping the gravy from your beak, follow along the Rincaz over to a hollowed tree trunk that is of medium size. It'd be like a pretty decent, like medium little cottage of a house within. And you two enter. You're greeted by a furbolg who welcomes you to the helper's hand, and seeing that you look to be adventurers / wild knots, is happy to show you who is currently in the rotating roster of hands currently. Do you guys want to roll? There are currently, the Furbolg tells you there are 4 hands here currently.
You go ahead,
Yes.
Rincaz. I'm just here to make sure you don't hire every single one of them.
I mean, we've already got Dribble D, and nothing can top him.
Do you all have a punch card or something? Like, because we've given you all a lot of business over the past few months.
I mean, I used to work there, so.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's a good point.
The Furbolg looks to you guys and says, well, we certainly like to help out Wild Knots as being a portion of the patrollers, as well as the Serindals ourselves, but the money mostly goes to the hands themselves. They're the ones making the coin.
Right. Got it. Go ahead, Rincaz.
We appreciate your business, though, he says. We hope that the hands have been helpful to you.
It's right in the name.
Rincaz, please roll me a d12. As you wait, there is similar to all. It seems like there is a similar interior design to all of the helpers' hands that has been built and spread out across the Twixt. There is the area where there's the desk, and then a curtain behind it. There is other members who are the hands who wait for people to come in and attempt to try and buy them off for some coin to get their help. Shifting out from behind the curtain is somewhat of a familiar face. Hang on just a second. You see, shifting out from behind, a very, very hairy, wild-looking dwarf named Azru.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. That was not the last place, but the place before that we went.
He seems to be shoving the last bit of what looks to be not even cooked, just completely raw meat into his mouth. You notice he has pretty large canines for a dwarf as he chomps into it.
Did we think we were going to have to mount up again to continue our adventure in this area?
You guys don't know yet.
Well, I thought that's what either Elanalue or the lizard folk man said, that we would need mounts.
Yeah, I thought I remember that too. I actually say, Asru, my good furry friend. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Aesop, reformed lycanthrope myself, so you're amongst friends here.
He looks to you for a second, and you see him shift around his face, and he grips your hand with a very hardy, stout dwarven hand himself. You see his entire arm and even a large portion of his hand covered in thick hair as he grips it, shaking it.
Listen, if it's all right with you, we need to get a couple of our ducks in a row, so to speak. But there's a very high chance that we will be hiring you very shortly. So stick around, don't go anywhere.
Asru, how much are your services?
Oh, that's unusually wise. Yes, good question, Rincaz.
He looks to you and says, "You got gold coin.
Indeed.
10 pieces a day."
How about 10 pieces and I get you a delicious meat pie?
That'll do.
Okay, we'll be with you shortly.
Does no one know how mercantile works here? You don't agree to their terms and then add more to it. Anyway, it's
No,
a
you're
pleasure
nice
to
to
meet
them.
you.
early on. Then, when you ascend, they follow you.
Oh boy.
Wait,
Oh dear. All right.
you're not supposed to agree to what they say, and then you're not supposed to give them extra.
Drink this funny red liquid, please.
Oh, okay.
NVD dies. Aesop, you are currently present along with Rincaz here at the Helper's Hand. You want to roll a d12, see who else is here?
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot. I definitely want to hire this guy if we have to do mounted stuff, though. 4.
Shifting out from behind the curtain is what looks to be, you guys may be familiar with this, maybe not. It looks to be some type of dryad. You are given a scroll by the nearby furbolg behind the counter, who greets you to Fraxinus. This dryad has a particular love of watching non-plant life squirm under her roots. She carries with her an enchanted acorn that allows her to safely travel any distance from her bonded tree and still stay in contact with it at all times.
Oh.
Because of this, Fraxinus cannot get sick, no matter how far she is from it. Be aware, she only speaks Sylvan.
Ooh, I speak Sylvan.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, we seem 2 for 2 for extremely, unusually, suspiciously useful helpers'
Very
hands
useful.
so far. Yes, we'll have to keep her in mind as well.
She says.
Oh, all right. Bless you.
I offer my hand out to hers.
She, with a hand which looks to be made of wrapped wood and long fingernails similar to the image, grips yours and shakes it.
I bow, kind of, like a bit, a proper greeting to her, and throw up a hand gesture as in, like, wait one moment, like, hold, and start trying to get Glacé. Glacé, we need your services.
Oh, of course. Anything for you, Rincaz, honey. What is it?
There's a plant woman here for the
Ooh.
Helper's Hand.
Hello.
Hello, you hear her saying, Sylvan.
Oh. I look at Rincaz. Do we want to hire her? Yeah.
Speaking with plants on a planet that we were assassinated by, or attempted to, yes. All of yes.
Okay. My beautiful lady. We were looking to hire you for your services. How much gold do you take a day?
No gold.
Oh.
I would like seeds, she
Seeds?
says.
What kind of seeds?
Interesting seeds.
Oh, I'm sure we can find some on the...
MPD has plenty.
Yeah, what? I'm at the seed shop. Do we need seeds?
Beanie, get like really just random bunches of seeds, okay?
Handfuls of seeds. Got it. I'll get handfuls of seeds right now.
I can also help find some too on our adventures. I know good ones to find, I guess.
Seeds, not mayonnaise.
No,
He makes mayonnaise. I can't make mayonnaise. I can get seeds from the shop. Handfuls of seeds. You got it. I'll get handfuls.
You bring me a special seed a day,
Ooh. I can do that.
and I will follow along with you for a time.
All right. Well, you just stay right here, and I'm,
I will stay rooted here.
Oh yes.
You should roll for Dragon Lily.
I wanna. Can I look for a helper's hand too? Just
Sure, you have arrived
Do
at the
it.
Helper's Hand. You may roll a d12.
12.
yes!
Triple
Yeah.
D. Triple D.
Pure 12.
Whoa, how'd I get here, dude?
Oh, God.
I thought I was on the ship. Holy fuck!
One too many cups of mayonnaise, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Whoa!
I was out of bounds.
Woo.
shifting out from behind the curtain glacé. Let's see here. Hang on, let me scroll down to it.
I got a seed for her. Mustard seed to coat this awesome burger.
You're gross. Triple
What?
D. Get out of here.
Mustard is a classic ingredient for righteous burgers.
Righteous burgers.
A burly looking,
Ooh.
what looks to be orc,
Whoa.
perhaps half orc, although he looks largely orc, steps through. There is a bit of a wide-eyed look from the Furbolg, and he hands over a scroll detailing Ogre Mush to you. Ogre Mush spent the majority of his life fending for his tribe of orcs, cutting down most other humanoids who trespassed on his lands. That all changed when the Dark Trine's forces swept over his territories, ravaging his lands for their own purposes. One of the few survivors, he now works with his once-hated enemies so he can afford enough to buy the small handful of his tribe a new life.
I was an orc once. I feel connected to this one.
I wonder why.
You notice a ragged clothing to his body, a large beard held together by a knotted piece of twine. On top of him, similar to a cloak, is what looks to be some type of maybe like bear pelt, and he carries with him a relatively large-looking nasty club that you can almost notice what looks to be the deteriorated stained blood on sections of it.
I think him and Sun Kong would get along great.
Okay, yes. Sun Kong, we might have a partner for you.
Ooh, that sounds good. How much is he?
Ogre Mush. How much? How much for your services?
You see him lift his fingers up, and not showing you, but to himself, he begins lifting one finger at a time.
He's dumb.
8 piece of gold a day.
Yeah, he might come with us. He probably will.
You see him shift his hands out towards you to show you. He's holding up 7 fingers.
Oh. 8. Got it. 8.
Ooh, boy.
I think we need a meat pie for Ogremush as well. I mean, guys, we've got someone who talks to plants, someone who handles animals, one who fights in the wilderness. That certainly there can't be anything else that's perfect for this place.
Or is there?
I mean, we're more the steward away from having everything we need for the wild. Bear Grylls is about to jump out of here. I mean,
there is still one more slot. If anybody who is currently shopping will say wants to stop by the Helper's Hand, we'll let someone else roll the final D12.
Who wants it?
Does Fa want it?
Oh, hey guys, what's this place over here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Looks like a place for mercenaries to be hired, from what it looks like.
Ooh, neat. Who's there?
Give us a roll. Ooh.
Sis.
With a 6, let's see here. You wait to see the curtain be pulled at about medium level. However, the
Ooh, this is kind of exciting.
lower area is pulled out, and stepping out about half most of your guys' size is what looks like a goblinoid. A ratty look to its clothing. It looks somewhat gaunt in its features and gangly, and sitting on its shoulder is a large bullfrog. Handing over the scroll with the details from the Furbolg, you guys watch as Maz steps out. She
Accustomed to filth.
She smells so bad. I don't have time to do a write-up for this one. If I stand here any longer, I'm going to puke. She's also currently fiddling with a jawbone, and I literally have no idea where she got it from.
Oh, she's cute.
Toby loves Harry Potter.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she seems nice.
I just want to buy her and give her to old Ganny.
No, we don't want her on the ship.
Man, where was she when we were in the sewers?
Yeah, for real.
Oh man, do we already have 3 people? That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Come on, guys.
Too bad. Oh dear.
Well, nice
Nothing
to
can be
meet
done.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But her scavenger
Bye,
ability,
we're
just
back.
like just like Chunk.
You hire me or not? She says.
No,
There is
they
a
can't all be winners.
disgusting smell from her breath that pervades your senses.
Whoa, guys, look at her. But she can produce almost any object so long as there is the barest chance it could be found or scrapped together nearby.
You can make an argument for just about anything.
Which is why I think it's a good idea we cut our losses here.
All right, Mazhar. Just no, not today, honey.
Maybe next time.
I give her a gold piece and thank her for her time.
She holds it in her hands.
She just fucking eats it.
She grabs her toad's like head and pulls it open and shoves the coin inside.
Oh,
And on all fours scampers back behind the curtain.
Oh,
It's
and
a
I
birth.
was gonna buy that jawbone off of her for you, Aesop.
I don't need jawbones.
I think it was in her
Yet.
mouth. I don't know if you want that.
Yet.
So, Fraxinus, Ogremush, and Azaru.
God bless you.
Yes, I would like to hire Azaru.
Okay.
Ogamash.
So, Azaru, just take a note. 10 gold pieces a day. Ogremush is 8 gold pieces a day. And Fraxinus is an interesting seed a day.
Okay.
And they have joined you guys.
All right.
I would also like to buy a meat pie for Ogremush and Asru as a thank you for joining us.
You buy the meat pie, and both of them look to one another and over the meat pie and wait for you to give it to one of them.
Oh, I break it in half and give one half to each of them and say thank you.
They both look to one another and snarl a little bit, wanting
no.
the other's pie, but begin to just shove it into their faces, getting all kinds of gross pie bits in their respective beards.
I'll try to get you guys more later.
Can I join them eating a meat pie?
Out of nowhere, Sun Kong walks down a set of bark-like stairs. He has no beard, but all over his face is piece of pie.
Sun Kong the ogre is your partner.
Yes, nice to meet you. I just put a hand out, like all greasy and you know covered in meat and juices.
He looks down and pulls his face away from his portion of the pie and says, "Monkey boy," and shoves his face back into the pie and continue eating it.
I can respect that, and I start eating my pie again.
Okay.
Why do you have to make friends when you can just buy them?
Since Clatter's with me, Farxanax, I closed out of her. I don't know her name.
Fraxinus. You should be able to see their names, I think. Can you guys see their names?
I can see it, yeah. Fraxinus.
Okay.
Yes.
They are now controlled by all of you, so whoever wants to join them with your character, they will follow you, adjacent to you, and offer you their abilities.
Well, I mean, you can clearly speak to her, but only if someone could understand her.
Look,
Wink.
our fucking icons are the same. We're like grasping the same
Aw.
part
Yes, you are. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, either who would like to take on the... I can translate, or Nvidi also, can you speak Sylvan?
Speak Sylvan, no, I can understand Sylvan.
Oh, okay.
I can't speak it though.
Well, you're pretty good with the
I'm
language.
getting those seeds though, promise. Handfuls. Handfuls right now.
Fraxinus says, "Hello, MVD." No.
Oh no.
I would like to go to the leatherworking merchant.
All right, you head a little bit north of the village, finding your way over to let's see here. I believe it's Rot, who looks to be a dragonborn, and he offers his wares to you.
Can I roll for something off the good part of the table?
You can. Just keep in mind that you guys can only do these once per shop every few days, so you can definitely go for it. We already did it with the fact chick who sold the books. You're more than welcome to try and roll here.
Does anybody else want to try it in the leatherwork before I roll?
I tried last session after the stream.
Oh,
and
yes, she did. So, yes, that is currently already spent up. Although in a couple days, I'd allow you to try again.
I'll try again later.
I want that glamorous studded armor.
I want the adventurer's hat.
All right.
You're already an adventurer, Sun Kong. You don't need a hat.
But the hat, look at it. It's so cool. It's wide brimmed. It's probably got a feather.
You could probably put more feathers in it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Whenever we find something with a feather, I just take a feather.
Yes, if only there was somewhere we could get feathers. The mystery remains.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. You can't.
I wish I could have had a feather from Cad.
He did have pretty feathers, didn't he?
He
Or so I
did.
heard.
Yes, you're right, Aesop. He did, just like we told you.
Yes, just like you all told me. I saw the knowledge shards. I know of you.
Rot. Sorry, Luke. Rot pulls from his supplies a relatively decent-looking adventurous cap. Around the brim is some like a vine work, kind of interestingly crafted around the circumference of the hat.
Well, if we're all done here, why don't we look at the mount?
Yes. I think we should get started. Who was the person we were supposed to talk to? Sorry, Fa, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna do some quick shopping.
Do it.
For weapons, I want to see if they have a hand crossbow.
Ooh.
I thought you were going to say hand grenade.
What shopping thing is that off of?
It would be a weapon.
Is
but
that the
you only have the
jungle?
jungle weapons,
Yeah.
Weapons and armor.
which is just like it's on slim list. It looked like.
You look around and seem to notice that the jungle weapons and armor offered by Duras is the only thing they currently have here in terms of armor and offensive materials to buy.
Wow. I'm just gonna get a bunch of potions. I'll not bore you with the details. They're all medium or below.
Okay. Yeah, if you just you can fork over the gold if you just want to punch them into the chat and just say you bought them. Then that's cool.
Yeah, I'll do the math for it, but I'm gonna get potion of climbing, potion of healing, oil of slipperiness, and I think that was.
You guys notice Fa doing a bit of shopping, buying some what look like pretty sensible things to buy from no matter where you go from here. Probably not bad things to have.
So, I guess I want to know how many potions of healing they have. It says D4 times 3.
If you would please roll me that die, I'll let you know.
Six. Alright, cool.
Plenty.
Thank you.
So I'll put the gold total here in chat in a minute to figure out how much of it.
Truth serum, huh?
Looked kind of expensive.
What does Assassin's Blood do? Ingested can inflict 1d12 poison damage. Okay.
I don't think it's actually literally blood. Oh, we would know.
I was hoping it would be red, because it would be mistaken for a healing potion, and we all know how people need to drink those real quick.
I mean,
that's devious as shit.
No. I would never.
I like it.
Flashbacks to the 7 times I forced people to drink things.
Potion of Vital. Oh, that's 20. Woof. That's a lot of money.
Thor will remember that Rincaz. Once a poisoner, always a poisoner. That's what I always say.
Potion of Vitality, that's what we have Reedy for. At least for exhaustion.
I guess Aesop's potions just aren't good.
Potion of longevity.
No.
I have a potion of hero. That's pretty nice.
Yes, it's right. I think someone named Aesop made that.
Yeah, it says it right there on the bottom.
It does. I put them there.
I haven't drank it yet, but it looks really cool, especially when you shake it.
We got
so thank you.
Make sure you're shaking the right one.
Right. Oh yeah, seeds. Right. I gotta get seeds.
Oh yeah.
See, now I kind of want to get another potion of fire breath.
Oh no, do it. Never have.
I only have one, but
signature maneuver. So Azra, what's your deal? Werebear? Is that what's going on here?
Huh?
Werebear. Lycanthropy, cursed.
How do you know?
You don't remember, getting into a fight with a bear or something, and then waking up the next day covered in blood? Anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds about right, I figured.
You could say he's a barbarian.
I will push you off of this tree.
You could say that, but only...
Seeing this place, don't promise me with a good time and not follow through.
He leans in a bit to you, Aesop.
What do you know about bears?
Bears? I don't know a lot about bears, but I know a lot about bloodborne illnesses, which I suspect you may have. But don't worry, you can lead a perfectly fulfilling life, as I'm sure you know as a member of the Helper's Hand, even with a debilitating illness such as lycanthropy. You also went through a very similar situation.
He looks you over.
You turn into bear?
No. I turn into a larger bird. You ever want to be half bear, half bird? I can do that to you, too.
Owl bear.
Owl bear! Yes, I can. You could become one with the owl bear. Stick with me. We're gonna go places, you and me, Azra.
He shoves more raw meat into his mouth.
Delicious.
Are you sure it isn't diabetes?
It's type 2.
He does kind of look like Wilford Brimley.
Eat your oatmeal.
Not to go on a tangent, but we have a delivery driver that looks just like 100%. I swear to God, it's Wilford Brimley.
It is. It literally is. He's back.
Oh.
All right. So what happens now?
Let's look at the mouth.
Yeah, we need to figure out what our next course of action is. We're here and we need to do some exploring, but we need to get to the bottom of exactly where we're going.
Bata Ogu, right? We're looking for Bata Ogu.
Wasn't he the big one? The one that we this
They're all big.
guy. Well, there's one that's significantly larger than the others?
Oh.
It's too bad Yolana isn't here.
Oh God. Yeah, this fella.
There's a number of carved signage that points out a denoting a chieftain, pointing you in a particular direction, leading north.
Let's go to
Big
the
boy this way.
This way to our leader.
Large boy around the corner.
Well, yeah, let's go talk to him and find out where we need to go and what we need to, what kind. If we need mounts.
Heads of state this way.
He has a pet fire-breathing lizard next to him. That's like me being a king with a small human as a pet. I am offended by your culture.
I moved my token over there, but I suspect everyone's walking with Aesop.
What is happening to the ogre token? Is it blurry for anyone else, or is it just me?
Put your fucking glasses on, you idiot. Of course it's blurry.
It's only that token! I took my glasses off because my ears were hurting.
No, it looks fine. Me.
Shut up.
No, it does. I'm not fucking with you. It looks fine to me.
I'll roll 20. As each of you follow the signage, there is a deck of this top area that is got some size to it. As you step up the steps, you see a relatively well-dressed looking dragonborn with a pen and quill in hand, taking what looks to be some notes and some parchment in hand. You see at the far end of the deck here a rather large, hulking-looking lizard folk. He is a size you guys have not yet come across. He's very large, and holding a stick in one hand, seems to be peering over out into the distance up north. There is a small-looking, almost lizard-like creature that seems to be quite literally just laying on the wood on its stomach with all four of its scaly arms and legs kind of sprawled out. It looks up to notice you. The nearby goldish yellow scaled dragonborn looks up and says,
Greetings, are you wild knots?
What? What did he say?
Greetings.
Oh.
Have you come to trade? Did you need to speak with a chieftain?
We've done the first already. We need the last.
We heard there might be a problem with perhaps some slavers around here that you might need taken care of. Or we're wild knots after all. If you have any sort of odds and ends that needs heroes, we're your type.
he turns, and you see now the large lizard folk shifting, using the stick in hand to turn towards you, shirtless, wearing some pants made of what looked to be leather and covered in a fur pelt, almost similar in some ways to Ogre Mush. He looks over all of you.
Ambata, you
What?
say you come here to help.
Oh.
Yes, Rincaz, could you help us out here?
Yes. Yes, we're looking for some slavers. Have you seen me?
He looks, noticing that you are dragon or lizard folk, and in Draconic says,
Oh yes, we could certainly use some help with that. You look to be adventurers of some type.
Yes, in Draconic, wild knots.
Not many passed through here recently. Doctrine cut us off. A lot of our tradeways running into trouble. What brings you and your people here?
Well, after having to deal with the, I kind of point down to the canopy below, the hell that is below us, we were coming to find some information about a few slavers, so to speak. A bit of a personal vendetta.
Bad thing, these slavers, he says in Draconic. Scroll. Lot of scroll settlements cropping up on the cradle. This area, the cradle, has a large abundance of natural resources.
Yeah, you do pick that up, Aesop.
He said scrow. I understood that.
He looks over and shifts back to a kind of broken common.
Makes trading between villages difficult. We found out a larger scroll settlement lies north, outside of Tangle Timber, at the base of Scrap Peak. Scroll gather various metals from old fallen flying ship near Peak.
What kind of ship?
He shrugs.
Groundling, he says, pointing at himself. Never been in sky. Big ship. Enough that they get metal from ship. Like it is mine.
He says,
The scroll of the Dark Trine. Interrupting trade caravans. Stealing both supplies and enslaving those who carry them. A few of our own people here at Thornweald have been captured. My strongest warrior, my mage, my druid, and some warriors. We sent them north to try to destabilize Scroll Settlement, but have not heard from in days.
And Fa's translating all this for everyone, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, cool.
What was your strongest mage and/or druid's name, so we potentially find them, or your warriors?
Best warrior we had in all of Thornweald named Bosk. Strong dragonborn.
Bosk. Have we met a Bosk before? Sorry, out of character. Have we met a Bosk before?
We have, just not in the Twixt.
Okay.
In a galaxy far, far.
Oh, it's a Star Wars name. Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Ego. Magic user. Strong. Able to tap into magics I've never seen before. Druid is Iskara. Lizard folk like you, he says, pointing at you, Rincaz. Bookseller, Fac, her older sister. Other handful of warriors, but those most prominent.
Well, that's certainly a good description.
Trouble them taking Iskara, the druid. She used her magic to help keep infinity vines at bay. Now that she gone, trouble keeping them away from village.
Infinity vines. Fa, can you ask him what infinity vines are?
Yeah, I don't understand that word.
he points you guys across the sort of level of this area here down south, and you guys notice a lizard folk and what looks to be another one of these little lizard or drake-like creatures. The drake is blowing a soft flame belching out of its mouth onto nearby vines.
Infinity vines grow through here. Special type have thorn on it, on cradle. If not kept at bay, they grow faster any other plant I seen.
Oh, Fa repeats the word. I get it.
Well, we definitely need to get that in check, don't we?
Path up north. After my warriors went that way, they disappear. Without Iskara's druid magic, whole path north often taken with Infinity Vine. If you going that way, you'll need some tools, some magics to cut through it. If you can offer us any aid, fire, or magic to stop the growth of Infinity Vine with Iskara gone, I pay you.
Ah. Oh. Well,
We have access to tools and magics.
how good are you with the concept of a controlled burn?
The nearby, relatively well-dressed Dragonborn turns and says, "That is exactly what we use here. If you have anything that can offer us the ability to use a controlled flame, that would be very helpful to us."
I can make you a certain amount of flammable oil per day. This would allow you to keep the flames at bay, hopefully in a controlled area. Although the bigger the explosion, the more effective the oil becomes. So you could do it with a torch, or you could use my patent fire bombs.
He pulls back a bit and says,
This one thinks this could be useful, but in small doses. Like forest drake,
he says, throwing his head over at the small-looking green drake kind of shifting around on its belly on the wood floor.
Too much fire becomes uncontrolled. Don't want to burn up village.
I see. That does make sense. Even still, if you decide to use oil, I can make it for you.
You offer us some way to stop Infinity Vine. We pay in strange stone.
Bata says, throwing a foot on the ground.
Strange
Stone?
What do you mean, strange stone?
The well-dressed Dragonborn turns to you guys and says, "Weird bits."
Oh,
Oh, yes.
Well-
You get to making oil, Aesop.
I mean, Aesop places 12 bottles on the ground and says, "How many would you like?"
He looks
What
over
are
to
you
Bata and turns back and says,
How many can this one make?
Well, today I could spare probably 10 of them of oil, or you could split the difference, 5 oil and 5 fire bombs. It depends on how deft you are with controlling flame. If you're not used to it, I'd recommend just sticking with the oil so you can sort of draw the area you want to burn away.
he pops the cork to one of the vials of your oils and runs it underneath his nostrils.
It smells like blood.
He pulls back.
This one does not smell oil.
I would be happy to provide a demonstration if you didn't mind it taking away from the amount I can spare today.
He looks over at Bata.
Show me.
Bata says,
All right. I take one of my oil flasks and then I look to this guy to see where I can throw it without it being dangerous.
he
guess.
points you over here to the tangly vines nearby, over to your right.
Okay. Just these things right here?
Yeah, you notice them kind of shifting through the tree work and shrubbery here, kind of crawling slowly onto the deck nearby. As you approach Aesop, make a perception check.
Oh, okay. Oh, whatever. Looks like vines to me, baby. It's a 3.
Looks like a tangle of vines here. You notice small prickling thorns on them.
I throw the oil.
It kind of splashes across a couple of the vines.
And I throw one of my fire bombs at it. And it does... It does It does 29 fire damage to the vines.
How-
Oh god, that's a crit! That's a fucking crit!
Wow.
Okay.
How big is the area of the fires that usually?
It is a. My bombs are always 3x3, so 15 feet by 15 feet. It's a radius 5 emanating from a target, so 3x3.
Okay, let's see here. Probably, we'll say something like that.
Yeah, that looks right.
There is a splash and then a audible combustion that happens as the nearby flames or the nearby vines of the infinity vine are caught aflame. It explodes a little too well, Aesop, and you notice that there are pieces of wood over on this walkway that are beginning to catch fire.
Geez. I think I can make an alchemy check to extinguish fire. I think that's a thing I could do.
You guys notice the dragonborn that is well dressed saying, "Is that one experienced enough to be doing this?"
I excuse me for a moment. Can I try to put out this fire?
Sure. How do you do it? There are 2 furbolg here on this platform that look pretty worried as you come step over.
I think there's a DC 15 for alchemist supplies that lets you neutralize fire with, like, I assume powders and shit that you have in the.
Makes total sense to me.
Yeah. Hiya! Well, actually, that's a 15 exactly.
Nice.
You are able to quell the fires catching the ramp nearby, kind of quickly throwing some powder over it that sort of quickly kills the nearby flame. You watch as it continues to burn the nearby infinity vine, though, and watch as a number of the vines that were clasping onto the ramps nearby are sort of cut loose as the flames sort of burn through. A large portion of the plant is kind of smoldering afterwards.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to make a good impression. I think I may have gotten carried away.
You left a little bit of a permanent one right there.
It's fine. It's fine, Fall. You're not.
I mean, you think this is grand? You should have seen what he did to that entire planet. I mean, he saved it. Totally didn't blow it up.
The
Well, they work.
well-dressed Dragonborn looks to you and says, "This one's oils works, but we'll take oils only."
Sure. I can spare 8 of them.
8, Bata, he says, turning. He throws a closed fist to his side. He licks his lips with a scaly or a forked tongue. "3 strange stone."
Well, you see, I'm going to be a little bit left out today. I think I'd really just have to go with 4, if you don't mind. I mean, it takes me a while to make all of these every day. I put a lot of work into it.
He blows air out of his nostrils. Make a persuasion check.
Okay. I'm not trained in this. Aesop's so fucking greedy.
Can I aid him?
If you're trained in persuasion, you
Don't
could.
know that it
Although he
matters.
rolled pretty high.
That's gonna be a 19, ladies and gentlemen.
I go to speak up and just pause and let him go.
What was it? Persuasion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
single bead of sweat runs down Aesop's forehead.
Hope 19 works.
He says, "You all look strong. You survive out there in sky," he says, pointing up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Maybe you help find out about missing people for my tribe here, Thornweald.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely.
I give you 4 strange stone if you do. More strange stone if you help.
Ooh, yes, we'll do it. How much
Absolutely.
more?
Help.
4 now, 4 later, right?
Oh, that.
5 strange stone for each person you bring back.
A fair deal.
Remember, since I'm translating, we can kind of catch stuff if you want to make it.
That's good.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Aesop's like, does no one know mercantile? No, what he says sounds fair. 5 per person.
We'll get him back.
Bata, I have a question. I don't doubt that you are native to this place, but by chance, are you native to this place?
Grew up nearby. Came here. Found Thornweald. Flourished. Hub of trade routes. Life good. Till scroll arrive. Make life difficult. Live here on Cradle. All Bata's life. Where you come from, scaly one?
Far, 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 far from here, with sands that match the color of my skin. A beautiful place.
You come from different world and sky.
Yes. All of our brothers and sisters they grew up on sands and water. Didn't go out in the jungle much. I'm more native to a hotter climate as well. But you do have a beautiful place, even though it has tried to kill me every moment I have been here.
Life not easy here. You won't find big city full of people. Mostly wilds. Dinosaurs. Try to eat your head. Bata like it. You like it too if you stay.
Wow. I kind of casually flex and scratch the back of my head. The T-Rex, you say?
If you looking to make life, coin to buy food, strange stone to help you, life good here in Thornweald. Help me out with my problems. I make sure you paid. Maybe you stay in Thornweald.
Oh, we need... Rincaz, we need you.
No. Where I come from, the jungle is not a place you go. Only a few go out there to hunt for food and what's needed, or in case of emergencies or coverage, we mainly stay towards the shores and the beach.
You all be safe here in Thornweald. Off ground, vines, bramble, cover all bottom. Very large. No creature get through. Area dangerous outside of here. Maybe some through trees here. But you learn be careful. You make good life. You make good friend here in Thornweald.
My family's here.
Oh.
What?
He said his family is here.
No, I can understand common fa.
Oh.
He's talking about us.
Yes, you guys. I have no one else. It's certainly not Creakin.
He looks over. All you stay at Thornweald. Could use help.
Oh, heavens, no.
Not on your life, buddy.
But we would like to help.
I lean over to Rick. Fuck this place!
I look over and nod slowly.
It's not as bad as Relica, though. Just kidding. Love you guys.
No, he's right.
Sun Kong, you see a stray tiny vine actively crawling over the deck very slowly, but you can actually see it moving as it crawls over the deck nearby the drake. The drake rolls over to it and belches out just a bit of flame and burns it away, and then lays back on its back.
What a cutie.
He's a good boy.
Well, me thankful for help. You consider staying. Could use strong people like you. Join other warriors here.
We'll think about it.
Rincaz, buddy, this isn't going to be like what I'm whispering. This isn't going to be like one of those things where they like force us to stay against our will, is it? I admit I'm not terribly familiar with lizard folk culture.
How do I put this? If you go to another person's home and they have strange customs, you can just kind of go along with it until you leave.
Until we leave, though. Right.
Just tell him we belong in the stars. We're wild knots. That's where we belong.
Glasse, are you going to say no to that thing?
I will go. Translate for me. Great Vata, we will stay and help you, and we'll come back every once in a while to help you. But we belong in the stars. We're wild nuts, honey. We help everybody, just like you and your family.
He nods his head. You see the well-dressed Dragonborn pinning a few, what look to be some notes, and looks up to you and says, if you don't mind this one asking, not easy to get to Thornweald. You only came here to make a few weird bit pieces?
No.
Oh, and find those slavers that
We have what they said is true. We had a personal vendetta against them. Most of us do by this point, I think.
Well, you will find plenty to get your revenge on if that's the case.
Looking forward to it.
Sounds like fun.
How many of them are out here that you know of?
Quite a few smaller settlements strewn about on the outsides of the tangled timber. It's difficult for them to make their way here, although we have our plenty of natural predators. Their numbers seem to be expanding. The natural abundance of the woods here make it easy for them to come down and cultivate the lands, take over other villages nearby, and promulgate the areas so that they can gather wood and material for the spelljammers they seem to be building for their own forces.
Do you know if they have any spectacular defenses against certain things? Magic or anything in particular?
They are militaristic by nature, so their tactics and combative prowess is pretty good. However, I don't know of any special things that they have. Most of the settlements here, the largest being the one up north, as Bata has mentioned, is simply here to gather materials, though they have their own defenses, from what we've gathered by sending surveys out to view them.
Well, do we need? I assume we're going to need a way to get to them with all of the, what were they called, infinity vines in the way. Do we need mounts or something like that to get there?
Yes, we have a mount service, though the main one in charge was taken. However, his son, Gendon, should be there, and hopefully will be able to offer you help.
I see. All right then. Well, that sounds good to me.
Alright, well, if that is all, let's take a look at those mounts. Thank you, Bada. Ogo.
You come back. Bring me my warriors. I like you more.
We'll do what we can.
We'll bring him back.
I turn to Rek and say, if you don't hear from us in a few months, you know where we are. And they're keeping us here against our will. Save us.
You head over following the signage glacé to the area over here where two furbolg actually. One seems to be running what look to be like some type of like leathery. They almost look like lassos or something similar, some type of rope work. There's another gentleman sitting on a furbolg gentleman sitting on a stump, and he seems to be shifting around a couple bags of what look like maybe some type of feed.
Well, let's go move over to Gindin and see what he has to offer.
Gundin, what's his name? Right?
Gindin.
Gindin. He's over here in the
Gindin.
upper right hand corner.
All right.
I push Azru off.
No.
No, I don't do that.
I just keep thinking of Altered Beast.
Yeah.
Right.
He
The
looks
golden
up.
bear.
He looks up to see a massive gather of goofy critters approaching.
Yeah, that's the truth.
You guys here for mounts?
Yes.
Look, I don't want to disappoint you, but I can't rent mounts out right now.
Why not?
The one in charge of the shop here, he's the one you should really be talking to, but he's
been taken.
Who told you that?
Big bada boom over there.
Big bada boom!
You're gonna be taken.
Yes, it was my father.
Well,
He's been taken.
we're on a mission to find everyone that's been taken, and bring them back. We need mounts, though.
Even my father, he says.
Of course, your father. Yes.
Of course.
Why wouldn't we?
Make a persuasion check with advantage, Glacé.
That's gonna be a total of.
6.
22.
Nice.
He looks across the way to the other furbolg who seems to be matching eyes with him. Feridor, these adventurers are telling the truth. My father, his name is Gondrin. You can save him and bring him back. I would muchly appreciate it. He was teaching me the ways of rearing and renting out the mounts.
Okay.
But with his disappearance, I didn't feel the confidence to carry in his footsteps. But if you people are going on a trek specifically to help bring him back, I could make an exception.
Well,
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
This will definitely help.
we have a few different mounts. Or you're looking for anything in specific? Just creatures to make it through the passageways here high above the forest floor, I assume.
Indeed.
Pretty
right?
much.
Very well. Feridor, help me, he says. You all may want to stand back some, and he sort of ushers each of you to kind of take a step back a little bit. Yeah.
I don't. No, I
I throw Clatter. I yeet Clatter off.
don't. I loved you.
I never loved you.
Oh, God. Fucking brutal. Why would you do Clatter so dirty like that?
I would never.
He
In front of his friends.
he puts 2 fingers in his mouth and blows. You guys hear nothing. Rincaz, you almost jump as shifting nearby, which you could have sworn was just the natural scenery of the shrubbery, is a massive-looking lizard. A chameleon that seems to shift its colors now that its lizard-like claws are clasping onto the tan wood now. Its colors shifting. It crawls onto the deck.
Neat.
Oh, that's a cutie.
Oh.
Gindin points over and says, all of the mounts here, they're well trained, and they come with barding and a saddle to make sure that the vine work of the area here doesn't cut into them. That's 25 gold pieces a day for each mount that you rent out, and extra 5 gold pieces a day for food for them for however long your journey is going to take you.
I see. And it's just the chameleons, right? What do we call them? Chameleons? Giant chameleons?
These are giant chameleons, horn chameleons if you wish. Ma'am, you may want to step back some. Ginnon holds up a hand towards you, Fa.
It eats Fa, just...
Are they hostile? Why do we have to stand so far away?
No, you may want to stand further back than that. There are others.
Oh. Well, let's get on. Okay, all right.
There's a as you're moving, Father, is a shifting sound coming from above you. You hear what sounds like the beating of wings, and to everyone's surprise, landing on the deck is what looks like a giant flying squirrel.
What? What is this creature?
It looks to each of you, shifting its whiskers on its face and chittering with 2 big, large front teeth. Its long ears shifting. You notice that it, similar to a flying squirrel, has just like a heft of thin skin that kind of makes up almost like a connecting from the arm down to allow it to glide. He says, Glymera. They're natural around these parts, so it can be a little difficult rearing and training them, but we've made our way here with me and Farador and our father. They can glide if you need, so if something happens, your fall shouldn't be too difficult. They can probably catch you before you fall to the floor, if you're riding with them.
Well,
Each of them will support 2 of you, of course.
Very nice. What a cutie this one is.
Oh, the giant chameleons, they can blend in, as you've seen, to their environments. If you're trying to get around sneakily, they may be a better bet for something like that.
Fa gets eye to eye with the thing and starts chittering at it playfully.
Oh.
Make an animal handling check, Fa.
Can
Yeah!
Can she speak Squirrel?
19.
What?
It chitters back at you, Fa, and you notice it sniffing, and you get the sense that it is actually kind of sniffing past you at... Hang on a second. And Vidi, who I'm sure is with you guys.
Sure.
It's like, hello, Nviti.
Vidi, it seems to be sniffing your way, and you kind of follow its head where it seems to be sniffing at you, looking down to see a patch of... What type of seeds did you buy?
Oh. Literally wanted to just buy everything that they had because I was asked to buy interesting seeds, so...
Well, what type of seeds did you end up buying, though?
Well, at medium rank, we had tree seeds and we had fine flower seeds. We had wildflower seeds, we had crop seeds. So, handfuls of all.
Wow.
Hang on just a second.
They were literally copper pieces for handfuls, so I'm the guy holding the limes. Why can't I hold so many seeds?
What types did you buy?
I purchased tree seeds, fine flower seeds, wildflower seeds, and crop seeds.
Fraxinus looks over your handfuls and shifts a bit away from you and says, none of these interest me.
Ooh.
More special seeds than that.
It's okay. I can help you all find payment for her as we travel. So, are these our only choices?
Fraxinus turns and Vidian says, before the end of the day, I will need one special seed. Otherwise, I will return here.
Oh, well, let's rent a mount and look for some interesting plants around here and see if we can get some seeds.
I'd be happy.
Gindin takes what looks to be just sort of like a herding staff, and is very gently sort of like pointing over behind Ukog. Sir, you may want to step over there. You see Ogremash kind of shift over and stand back here. Gindin waits.
It's gonna take a second. You guys may want to sit down.
Is it slow?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A slow mount? What?
Maybe it's a safe
Slow.
mount.
2-3 minutes pass.
Hopefully it's not a slug. Ugh.
Aesop, you nearly jump as a massive claw covered in sharp claws digs into the nearby deck of the wood, and pulling itself up is a what looks to be a massive sloth-like creature.
It's a sloth!
It pulls itself up on the deck and, using its other massive paw, goes to scratch its sleepy-looking eyes.
Kind of looks like a cool bar. Was it?
Capybara.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I was gonna say Kuwabara.
So
These are the treetop megatherium, the big sloths, if you would prefer. They're a bit slow on the uptick, but if you piss them off, they're pretty good about making sure that you stop pissing them off. And well, if one goes to hug you, let's just say don't let it hug you.
Wow, they're slow and difficult to control. Where do I sign? I'll take the chameleon.
We have more than this. This is just
Oh,
a
what?
selection of the 3 that we offer.
Okay, all right, everyone. Let's make room for
Yeah, maybe we should
Bring them
save
out,
them
honey.
for
Bring them
holy
out.
shit.
Well, I just need to know who would like what. There's 2 seats to each mount, of course.
Well, there's more to choose from, right?
Well, these are the 3 selections.
Oh,
We have more of each individual species.
Right. Like I was saying, I will take the chameleon, please.
Very well. You can take this one here,
He says, and
Perfect.
Feraldor takes the ropes now, and you realize that he kind of attaches it to a mouthpiece so that you can kind of hold on to it to steer it.
All right, Azru, you good to go with this one? You okay with lizards?
I've eaten lizards before. This one's too big to eat. For now.
And he begins crawling up behind you.
All right, I'm going to take that as a yes.
The hell?
I want the fuzzy one. The one that's nice and flies, not the other one.
Yeah.
What's your name, Mr. Scaly Boy?
You
I think your
see
name is Reginald.
one eye look your way and then back out, and then the other eye look your way and back out. Fa climbs up on top of the Glymera. Aesop, make an animal handling check as you climb up. Although with Azure, I believe you get advantage.
Yeah, that's why I bought him, because Aesop sucks at this. That's going to be a 12. Hey, man, no one takes animal handling ever, except...
Maybe like druids or something.
Yeah.
The giant chameleon doesn't seem to like try and help you in any way to climb on top of it, but it's easy enough to just kind of like get your footing and throw your foot over the side to get onto the saddle.
If I have to, I'll airdrop on top of them. With my wings.
Fa, you climb atop the Glymera Who else is getting on with Fa? Glace?
Can
Okay.
Clatter come with me, or can Clatter just... Because I can rent my own if that's not possible.
I'll say that you guys can fit 2 PCs and a NPC. How about that?
Oh, that's cool. Anyone want to ride with old Reginald here?
Sure.
All right then.
Flying squirrel!
I whispered to Aesop, remember, little pet humans, big human mouths. It's a little weird.
I don't. What do you mean?
Fa,
Which-
will you make an animal handling check as you climb atop?
I'm really good at this! Oh, I'm not!
Oh no!
All right.
That's face value.
It's a 4.
Oh,
Glace, you go to climb up, and the Glymera, a bit thrown off by Fa, kind of clambering on top of it, shakes rapidly, and you kind of tumble back down one of the sides.
I'm so excited! I kicked it! I'm sorry.
Clatter kind of catches you before you topple too far away from the deck.
Oh, my hero. Can I try to calm it down by
Sure.
singing it a little song? Like,
Sure.
What do you want me to roll?
Make a
for that?
performance check.
Okay. That is gonna be a 23.
It calms down, and you actually notice that the treetop megatherium next to it is watching as you sing, and slowly begins to kind of lay down on all fours, and you see its sleepy eyes slowly begin to close, and then you see a prodding stick from Gendon poking it as its eyes open back sharply.
Oh yeah, don't let it go to sleep.
Oh.
Sleepy weepy.
Yeah. They're fine sleeping. It's just it's the whole waking up part that they don't like.
Oh, okay. Well,
He says this as you are
I
able to
understand
climb up on top of the Glymera.
All right. Who else?
I'll take a squirrel as well, I guess.
All right. Very well.
He says. You watch as the other furbolg beside him, using what looks like a hanging rope, kind of grabs on and descends down. In a few minutes, another Glymera appears. For you, Sun Kong. Send this one to the back so you can hop on top. Make an animal handling check as you hop on top of it.
Huzzah! 20. Unnatural.
It actually lowers down and lowers a shoulder for you to kind of place a foot on top of, to easily climb on top of it. You have a thing for animals, don't you? Cog says as she climbs on top with you.
Yes, I do.
All right. Who else? You're welcome to partner up on each of the mounts in any way you please.
Invidi, do you want a fuzzy squirrel? Do you want a chameleon sneaky baby? Or do you want a strong, hefty, slow, grumpy thing?
I kind of like the one that wants to sleep if it will help us. If it does anything special, but if not, there's room on the other two.
Yeah, they're perfectly capable of leading you through the areas here. They got a strong grip to them. Just don't let them go to sleep. And if they reach in to give you what looks like a big hug, don't let them either.
Don't. Oh, 'cause I did want to hug it, but
Yeah,
I won't hug
don't do that. Don't. Well, I guess it's fine if you hug it, but don't let it hug you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It is a friendly creature, this one being domesticated and all, but just don't let them hug you.
This is all bad. Can I approach it?
Yeah, you approach it, and it's already laying down from Glacé's soft song. And make an animal handling check to climb on top of it.
Start a fist fight with it.
11.
Similar to Aesop, it does not help you at all. Your foot kind of shifts off once or twice trying to climb on top. It like practically doesn't even pay you any mind, but you're able to kind of clamber on top of it. So you can climb on top. There is another space on the Glymeria where Sun Kong is, if anyone wanted to get on that one. Otherwise, Rincaz, you are the only one left to not have a mount.
Oh, no. I said I'm going to hop up with Sir Reginald.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sir Reginald, tally ho!
I whisper to it in Draconic and say, it's okay. I understand.
Who has Ogre Mush? Sun Kong, you have him?
Yes.
Alright, so he's gonna clamber on. What were you gonna say, Luke? Sorry.
Can it speak? I'm talking to Rincaz. Can it speak Draconic? Can it talk to you?
I put my ear down and nod a few times.
Oh, okay, it's bullshit then. Got it.
Maybe he just doesn't want to talk to us.
Well, I find that hard to believe. Sir Reginald is the most personable chameleon I've ever met. Anyway, let's go find that payment for Fraxinus, right? Oh, Jason, do we have to pay up front?
It is. He tells you, you're gonna want to at least buy feed up front. That's 5 gold pieces a day for however long the trek is. If you're unsure, you may want to ask the chieftain. Otherwise, when you come back, it's going to be 25 gold pieces for a day that you rented it out. And I gotta charge extra if they come back with any damage on them.
Sure. Can we just go ask the chieftain real quick how far away the Scroad is?
Yeah, he basically tells you if you are renting out mounts and able to traverse through the tangled timber up along with them and are able to keep them intact and everything, it should be about a day's travel there.
Oh, it's not bad.
He mentions again that there's a Scrow settlement at the base of what he calls the Scrap Peak.
It's 5 gold per day. I'm gonna go ahead and buy 4 days for mine just in case.
Alright, so 20 gold pieces, 4 days.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. It's
Alright.
true that they say 18's in intelligence. Take a like.
NVD, Sun Kong.
I'll do the same.
Alright.
4 days is good.
Alright.
Be prepared. That's what they tell you in the Kinku Scouts. You have to be prepared.
You see a Fereldur coming along and tying to the saddle on a nearby area where there's loops. What look to be 4 different bags of they got a soft smell to them of like different seeds and stuff like that.
What's this guy's name again?
This is a Gindan.
Gindan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we're saddling up, knowing absolutely nothing about the context between Gindan and his father, Aesop says, "Don't worry, Gindan. I'm sure your father is very proud of you. We'll get him back."
We will get him back.
He kind of looks down a little bit and smiles and looks to his brother, who smiles, and they look back and say, "Thank you. It's really nice of you guys to do this."
Oh, well, I mean, it's
Our
nice
pleasure.
of you. Yes, it's our pleasure.
All
Can I
right.
do an insight check on them? Why, I don't know. That's kind of weird. They're just weird.
They murdered their dad and left him in the woods.
Yeah.
How can we get to this?
You know those meat pies you like so much?
Oh no!
Oh no! Don't ruin another meat pie.
Well, my insight is. Where is my insight? Okay, it's a total of 14.
You get the sense, kind of studying them, that whatever training was being done between these two brothers, there wasn't a whole lot of time that they probably had to try and quickly take over the business before their father disappeared. So they find themselves overrun or overwhelmed is a better word, and just seem happy to have some people reluctantly show up to go and rescue their father.
Okay. You guys are peaches, and you're doing great. Look at how well trained these animals are. Yip
Delightful.
yip.
Hooray!
The treetop megatherium reaches one of its claws back up slowly in VD, and it looks like it's coming right at your head, and so you just slowly shift out of the way, and it just slowly lands on one of its back shoulders, and it scratches very slowly, and then slowly shifts back down.
Holy
Can I
shit.
try and slide like one tree seed like in the area it's scratching, see if it wants to eat it?
You notice it kind of grab it with 2 fingers of its large paw and just bring it up to its mouth. A long-looking tongue shifts out and wraps around, pulling it back in.
Oh, no, I want that one.
I think I have enough feed to make this one happy.
Good.
Oh, let's hope so. Good luck, guys.
Naturally, thank you much. What's the time of day, Jason?
The time of day is always sunny because there's a giant sun-type body that is in the center of the cradle, giving permanent light to the area.
Bing bong, it's midday.
So, how long has it been since we've rested then?
Too long.
When did you guys rest?
I needed that.
Before the fight with the predator?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then it's probably been 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, so not a full day then.
Not a full day.
Well, maybe we should get started. At least get part of the way to the camp. Start looking for payment for old green sleeves over there.
That's a good idea.
I don't want to sleep in the woods again.
Oh, there's a hut. We can go in the hut.
Yeah, you don't have to sleep outside anymore. I can handle that one.
Gendon looks to you and says, you guys are going to make sure and want whatever supplies you need if you're heading north. There's no real place to sit down and relax.
See?
The tangle will end, but it's about a day's worth north before it does.
Right.
Does everything here want to kill us?
Always start a new journey after you've had a full night's rest and a full breakfast. That's what I always say since now.
It's a good common sense for this one.
Okay, well, if you all want, I suppose we could stay here just for a little bit before we begin our adventure tomorrow.
Let's do it.
All right, it's decided.
If we do that, can I go back to the seed shop and see if there's any of those interesting seeds? Because Maximus looks really, really smart, and
Oh
you know,
my god.
we need to get payment.
Yeah, I also want to look for interesting flowers around the area with them.
Yeah, I'd like to check the treetops since I can fly in particular.
You can make a perception, a nature, a survival check in VD. If you want to try and roll on a higher tier, you could if you'd like to try and get a more special looking seed if they happen to offer it.
I'm gonna spend my inspiration.
Just let me know what you want to try and go for in VD.
Let's try.
5 nature.
Nice.
Oh fuck.
So we have a choice between good quality and excellent quality.
The vendor of this flower and siege merchant, Kralump's Garden, only offers medium quality and below. So if you're going for something on the good table, you'd need to tell me what it is, and then it's got to be an 11 to 20. You want to go for an excellent? They may have it, but you got to get a 16 through 20.
You could get those dragon lily seeds.
I see it. Let's go with the. I think Phoenix Bloom sounds fancy.
Okay. Give me a luck roll, 11 through 20, and they will have some in stock.
Add advantage, please.
All right. Actually, keep your card, your advantage card, if you're using that, because this is a luck roll.
Oh.
So you can't use your card for just straight, like, universal luck.
Okay. Oh, I got a 6.
Unfortunately, they do not have Phoenix Bloom here. So, with that said, let's turn to Aesop. What was your total of your roll?
22 on nature, and then Fa got a 25 on perception.
Hang on just a second here. So, are we gonna say that you guys are you taking a short rest, a long rest? We'll say that you are able to find some quarters that for something very small, like 5 GP a night, you could stay at for however long you needed.
I mean, it sounds like we need a full-on rest from what we're saying.
All right,
Down to
so
half spells.
5 gold pieces from everyone. You can get a long rest, and also because of that check, we'll say in between now and then, that you, Aesop, and Fa kind of peering around. Glossier, were you looking too?
I was, but everything's green, and I really can't tell because I got a 5 on nature.
She found a tree.
Let me see and make a roll here.
It was the tree we're standing on.
It's hard to miss.
I will survive it.
What'd you roll, Sun Kong?
19.
Sun Kong, you find in your hands some interesting looking seeds that you were able to find more towards the top of some of the tree limbs here. You notice as you shift them around in your hand, you found, roll me a d20. You find 16. As you shift them around in your hand, as your finger kind of leaves them, there's a bit of a glow to them.
Ooh, I think I found some good seeds, guys.
Fa, you and Aesop, are you guys working together or separately?
I guess we both rolled, so I guess separately? What do you think, Fa?
Yeah, I was doing flowers with Glossier.
Yeah, and I guess I was flying up higher than them or something.
All right, and I'm sorry to ask for checks again, but what was the highest one? Was that 22?
I think it was Fa's 25.
25, wow.
Perception.
Roll a d4, Fa.
Ooh.
1.
You find a very interesting, kind of large looking seed that almost because of the kind of surrounding shell gives it the look of almost like horns.
Whoa.
You guys could make nature checks to kind of find out what these are if you'd like, or another check if it makes sense. What was yours total, Aesop?
22.
Well, the 22, Aesop, please roll me a d10.
D10. Yes, Fa, you're going to need to stick these seeds straight up your ass.
Oh, jeez. I don't know, Aesop.
Just get them straight up there.
You find 6 seeds that as you sort of pull them and collect them from the nearby foliage, they're a bit warm to the hands.
Ooh.
These are definitely easier than the Aesop.
I have 6 warm seeds?
5 now. Whoa.
Oh, come on.
You started it.
I know.
Don't spill it everywhere.
I would like to do a nature check on the flower seeds that Foz found.
And I'll do a nature check on my own seeds.
All right.
Ugh.
They're sticky.
Oh, come on. Fucking, come on.
Was that a 20 overall, Aesop?
Yeah.
With a 20, you're able to find out that these seeds that you hold, the 6 of them, are phoenix bloom seeds.
Oh, very nice.
When grown to maturity, they burn as a torch and can set objects on fire.
That's cool.
Ooh,
Can I bring my seeds to Aesop to look at?
Yes. Glosse, you looking at Foz seeds, I believe. Take a look at them, and with your 19, you are able to see that the lone seed that Fa has is a dragon lily seed.
Oh.
Oh man, we're getting fucking lucky.
And the 13 to identify Kong seeds, it's not terribly difficult. You get the sense, especially because Nvidi kind of went over some of the seeds offered in the nearby shop. You have some familiarity with some of the stuff here, that these are glow blossom seeds. So once grown to maturity, they emit dim light in a 10-foot radius.
I got
All right.
16 of them. Sweet.
Very nice.
As you bring your handfuls of seeds to Fraxinus, she shows utter disgust with the phoenix bloom seeds.
Oh, because they're made of fire. Cool. It's cool though. I can use them for torches, right?
Yeah, I got. Yeah.
However, she herself is happy to take either the dragon lily or some of your seeds, Sun Kong, one a day, just whichever one you want to give her.
Sweet. So I've got 16. So that's like 16 days right there. I'll give her whatever. I'll give her one of mine.
She takes it and
This
says,
How
"Thank
about we
you."
give her this one as a signing bonus?
Look at that. Got one of each of them.
Does no one know how mercantile works?
Well, I meant instead of, but if Sun Kong wants to instead of, that's his problem.
She happily takes it and thanks you guys. Being translated through. Fa, do you understand Sylvan?
Nope.
All right. Through Glosse/Nvidi. All right. You guys are well rested. Slim is dead.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, he never came back.
He never came back.
Performing
He never-
husbandly duties
he
on
never
the other
will.
stream.
Your mounts are secured and kept for you over the night, since Gindin will wait for the rest to kick in before you guys come and actually pay your rent. So just keep in mind, 5 gold pieces for the rest, 25 for each mount. If you guys wanted to split that up between 2 of you, that's fine. And then the 20 gold pieces for the feed for them. So just keep in mind the charges.
Well, wait a minute. For the room, for the mount, and what was the last thing?
5 gold for the room, 25 each day to rent the mount. You don't have to subtract it yet. Just keep that in mind, that each day is going to be 25 gold pieces. And then you have spent 20 gold to buy 4 days worth of feed for the critters.
Oh, how many days will it take to get to the settlement?
We just settled on.
They said that without any massive obstacles in the way, it's going to be a full day's travel, 24 hours across the treetops of the Tangled Timber to reach the base where the Scroll settlement is, at the base of a place called Scrap Peak.
Then I'll pay for 3 days just in case.
Well, we don't have to pay until we get back.
Oh,
Fa bought 4 days worth of feed already.
well, I was okay.
You could buy more if you need to.
No, I thought we were paying. I thought that was for the rent of the.
Oh, no. He said wait until you get back. That way he can figure out how long you've been gone. And so he can assess the animals and make sure there's no nicks or bruises on them.
Nice.
I'll buy the food, you buy the rental.
Is there rental insurance?
Yeah, the insurance is that you bring it back in one piece so you don't have to pay extra.
And I told it.
That's a good policy. Efficient.
Yeah.
All right, I paid my gold. I go to sleep.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna go sleep
guys.
too.
You guys take your long rest. You awaken feeling long rested. We'll say you hunted for the seeds kind of in between these hours here. You awaken feeling well rested and ready to begin your journey.
Would you say that we all rested in the same area?
Yeah, it's like these are hollowed areas that are kind of hollowed out with the bodies of these trees here, but they're all relatively close together. So you're all within, like, let's say just 30-40 feet of one another.
Okay. 5 team members get 10 temporary hit points from Celestial Resilience.
Nice. Thank you.
I get 16.
Very
Boom.
nice. Oh, I guess sometime before we would have gone to bed, I would have asked if any of the merchants were interested in buying this gold bracelet I got.
Oh, the gold bracelet off of the guy that you found.
The
Yeah.
watchtower.
Yeah.
Make a persuasion check.
10.
One of them offers you 22 gold pieces for it, saying it's actually pretty fine work.
Hey, I'll take it.
He says it reminds him of the tribes from the Kintaris Valley.
Neat.
Of course.
Not realizing
stop.
that you stole it off the arm of a crazy member of one of them.
Hey, that's a pretty good guess, Sonny Jim. That's sorry. How many hit points did I get from Nvidia?
10.
10.
10.
0-1. You got 1.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah, it's backwards on.
Dude.
My bad. Yeah, 10. Everybody gets 10. I get 16.
Rincaz, you rest and healed up for the night. Take away 5 gold pieces for sleeping in a tree trunk. Or a hollowed out tree body. Plenty of pelts and stuff to keep you covered and warm. Although it's relatively warm out here.
So luxurious.
Oh, thanks.
I'd say maybe next time we could sleep in a dumpster, but we pretty much did.
We slept in
Oh
a
my
tree.
Well, I meant the planet that we helped with the fire before.
Oh. Gurge.
Alright. Are you guys
Helps.
ready to start your trek? Is there any last things you want to do?
Good.
I make my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Glossy.
Oh, no, go ahead.
As I say, I make my potions and give everyone 3 fire bombs. Morning routine.
Did we get a map of the place? Like like just of the jungle? Can we get a map of the area?
Sun Kong pulls out his accurate map, denoting that yes, according to the chieftain, about a day's travel north will lead you to what looks to be the base of a accurate looking mountain peak.
Oh.
Drawn into it seems to be what looks to be the wreckage of some type of ship. A spelljammer, perhaps.
Huh.
I suppose that's as good of a place as any for a slaving settlement. Is that what even you would call it? Anyway, let's get this over with. Fuck these guys. Any of these Dark Trine, I'm ready to get rid of.
Let's go.
Whoever's looking at the map, make an investigation check.
I guess that's me.
Oh, that's good. Shoot if I'll look at that.
Whoever wants to can.
I mean,
Plus
if,
8. 25.
I'll hand it over to you. I'm like, yeah, you might be better than me.
Oh, I see. This is, how do you tell north and east where the...
Oh god.
It's a 25.
Fucking rope-a-doping us on the investigation.
This map is pretty detailed with the illustrations that are on it. You get the sense that it was well worth the 25 gold pieces because it pretty much lays out a plain good path for you guys to follow with your mounts, which makes you all feel a little bit more comfortable and just kind of blindly trekking north. Now you actually have a path to follow using the map. Fa, you notice a small note scribbled, be careful which trees you crawl on. Not everything is a tree.
What does that mean?
Well, I think it means some trees are trees and trees are not trees.
How can we tell the difference?
I'd say climbing on them is probably one good way to find out.
I mean,
That's one way.
remember when we first landed, we saw vines that moved and that were the size of trees. I imagine, we just have to keep an eye out for movement, probably.
Oh, well, hopefully they're nice.
They're probably not.
I don't think they warn people about nice stuff.
At any rate, I think, and I don't often suggest this, I think I should take the lead, considering I'm the one with the stealthy mount fellow, Sir Reginald. We can hide in case there's any sign of danger. Let you know if the coast is clear, that sort of thing.
Okay. Ours is called Gumball.
That's a great name. It's adorable. It's just this gross-looking, beaver face.
It's like a giant rat.
It's Gumball Princess Daisy Pockets.
Meanwhile,
His bloodshot eyes look crazed.
like foam collecting in the corners of his mouth.
Shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's gonna kill me.
It's like one of those like SpongeBob smash cuts where it cuts to the face. It's
That kind where it's really creepy.
yeah, it's like unnaturally realistic.
Yeah, you've noticed, Fa, that yours has been chittering and it hasn't stopped.
What's wrong with her?
Oh god.
Alright, are you guys ready to begin your trek?
Let's go.
Alright. You guys begin making your way through the trees. The giant chameleon, using the fork-like nature where it kind of mixes two fingers together to grip almost like claws, and sometimes using its tail to wrap around the tree branches, kind of shifting through the trees and using its body to move. You watch Aesop and Rincaz as each piece of foliage or tree that is colored in a different pattern, the bark, the brown of the bark or the green of the shrubbery nearby, you watch as it brushes up against the chameleon skin and begins to shift. You have a feeling like if you were far enough away from the giant chameleon that it'd be a little difficult to see, other than you two on top of it. The Glymeras, both you, Sung Kong, and Fa, and Glacé, they shift quickly and occasionally jump, outstretching their arms and gliding using the skin underneath as wings and clasping onto the next tree. All of you occasionally have to pull the reins of your mounts to look back and see, slowly but surely, Nvidi and the treetop Megatherium slowly moving. But as each claw grabs another position in the tree, you see its claws just digging in, almost as if the tree was made of a soft material. They're very sharp. It just uses its weight to just, holding with its feet, just reach out with its bare hands to the next tree and grab on and slowly shift over, making its way with you. You guys begin the trek forward up north.
Oh.
This is fine.
I want to keep I want to keep a lookout for moving vines or tree trunks.
Gotta keep an eye on that damn squirrel.
All right, make a perception check.
Ooh, okay. Nice. That's gonna be it's modified to a 20.
So unnatty 20.
Yeah.
I'd also like to make a survival check to keep an eye on like any breaks in the tree line that would indicate like a giant moving vine or something like that, for example.
All
I'll make a
right.
survival 2 when he's done.
What was your total, Glosse?
It's an unnatural 20.
Gotcha. You peer around. A few hours pass by into the trek. All of you sort of getting used to the idea of this mount kind of moving not on land but having to crawl through the treetops here. It's slightly uncomfortable, but not terrible. And you guys are able to slowly shift through the elevated area here. With your checks, you guys get the sense that looking down, it would be about 60 or so feet of a fall.
This is fine.
If you were to just take a drop.
We've fallen from higher.
Take a drop.
Glosse, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary with your check. You
Well,
see the occasional, what look like squirrels shifting by. You actually see a large-looking snake shifting through the vine work, but nowhere near you. You guys also may want to take this time to update your health, too.
Already done, baby.
Hey, these aren't the same tokens. We
Yeah,
keep.
these may be different tokens. Aesop, what was your total? 14?
Yes. No, 19. 19. Sorry,
19?
19
You-
on survival.
You were looking through the tree line to try and see if...
I'm just trying to like track any signs of these giant vines that might be moving through the forest.
with
Like
that... Oh,
Because
go ahead.
remember, like it was like a subway that basically almost knocked Glosse to death when we first landed. I'm basically looking for signs of that sort of thing.
Okay. Hang on just a second. With your check, you see nothing shifting around that reminds you of the vines that you initially saw before.
All right, Reginald, stiff upper lip. Keep an eye out.
You see what looks like a swarm of probably flies or something shifting nearby. A massive tongue shoots out from in front of the giant chameleon and just smashes the swarm against the nearby tree and slowly peels back. You see dead bodies of this various swarm sticking to the end of its tongue as it slaps back into its mouth and it closes.
Yes, feast, eat.
Oh.
I rolled a 19 on survival as well. I'd like to keep a watch for trees that aren't actually trees.
You rolled a 19?
Yeah, 19.
You... With a 19, you feel like you saw one of the trees, like, shuddering just a little bit.
Oh.
But it was difficult to tell exactly which one. It seemed weird for a second. Kind of scratch your eyes and look again.
Be careful. I think one of those trees that aren't trees over there somewhere. I'm not sure which one.
Can we do a nature check?
At disadvantage, as Sun Kong sort of points a finger out at a broad area.
It's this way.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
area.
I am going to... Let's see... I just wanted to check if I had anything that would help me, and I don't, so at disadvantage... Pretty... Well, we're at a 2 so far, everyone. Okay, well... 4, total of 4.
The overcropping canopy. It's not dim light here, but the canopy overhead casts a fair amount of shadows around here. So it's really difficult to make heads or tails of what the heck Sun Kong was pointing out. They all look like just large bodies of tree trunks that kind of rise up into the kind of the darkness of the canopy.
Right.
I'm sure it's nothing. The monkey's imagining things.
Can I make a nature check?
Sure.
15?
At disadvantage.
15.
With a 15, you think you see, for just a second, it's a little strange and beady, like an entire tree shifting behind another one. Like the body of the tree shifting behind another.
That really doesn't make any sense at all.
Could I?
There's like trees moving behind trees.
Trees.
Oh, can we try to avoid that one?
I was just gonna say, could I take a survival check on how to avoid these things?
Sure.
If it's there, we go that way. That way being the other way.
That's a good way to avoid it.
Natural 20 from Rincaz.
Roll 20's back.
Credit card.
Roll a D10,000.
No, good boy card.
Yeah, we're not in the weird.
That's not as fun.
I'll give you a good boy card.
I feel like God.
No.
Take your card, God
Take
boy.
your card, God boy.
Lord of Scales.
God, boy.
Discard be me. Oh, look at that. Plus 1d4 to any roll involving God. Yes.
You, Rincaz, are kind of used to the more treacherous areas like this in your past. You, thinking ingeniously, kind of put your eye through the scope of your rifle. You peer around and notice that what Sun Kong said was not entirely false. There's just a second where it seems as though one of these very, very tall, very thick trunks like shifts a bit back and forth, which is strange because if it was planted in place it wouldn't shift. You keep keyed on that particular trunk and continue looking up into the darkness of the canopy. As you continue looking up, you're very happy to know that you guys are some yards away, because as you look up, you see there is about 6 of nearby trunks next to the one that you saw shutter that rise up, and just close to the canopy's top, you see this.
What, Jason? It's not that big, is it?
Yes.
No. No.
Oh, see, I told you it was nothing.
So it doesn't see us, right? It doesn't see us, right?
It looks as though it hasn't noticed you, Rincaz, but it looks as though the 6 bodies of these tree chunks are actually the legs of some type of massive spider-like creature.
Don't like it, no sir.
The shadows of the canopy keeping its abdomen and face well hidden towards the top, and you can now see just a vast mouth full of sharp-looking fangs and various dotted red eyes, insect-like eyes that seem to be peering around.
Nope.
Let's keep moving.
Nope.
Fucking woods, man, I tell you.
I'd like to take the rifle I had. I was looking down the scope and slowly turn it on myself.
Oh my god.
I've seen it, man. You don't know, man.
Game over.
You guys continue to shift. Are you trying to do so more quietly now, or just trying to get away from whatever this is?
Oh, let's try to do it stealthily,
Oh, yes.
quietly.
Again, I will take the lead with the chameleon moving stealthily.
Invidi boy, you be careful back there. Take that.
Thank you. Mr. Hugs is doing a really good job.
His name is Mr. Hugs.
You're not
So I
supposed
can
to hug him.
remember that. So I can remember that I hug him and he doesn't hug me.
Okay. Not sure how that makes sense.
He can Kyle.
No, that it tracks. It tracks. It makes sense.
Mr. Hug.
Oh shit.
You killed him. He's dead.
I'm not good with names.
Cute. It's cute.
Oh,
Make
shit.
a stealth check. What was your total, Aesop?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to roll stealth?
Yes, please. If you're trying to move stealthily.
Yeah, for myself. Does the chameleon grant me any kind of bonus, or like, what's the deal there?
It does. It's a +4.
Oh, sick. Oh, god damn. That's gonna be a 30.
Yeah, you feel like you've chosen a good mount for this particular situation, as the surrounding area, as it clambers on the surfaces of it, keep you well hidden with the camouflage ability of the chameleon.
Good job, Reginald. Swift and stealthy.
Sun Kong, you are using the reins to the Glymera along with Ukog. You're able to keep it relatively quiet as it silently drifts through the air from one tree to the next.
Sweet.
Fa, we'll get to you. Let's see what Invidi rolls.
Can I use that advantage I wasn't allowed to use on the luck roll this time?
Yes, if you still have it, you can totally use it. Yeah.
All right. So 17.
Was that a
+2.
card that you had, like one of your inspiration
Yeah, one
cards?
inspiration card.
Okay,
So
okay.
19 and then 28.
Oof, pretty good. Not only are you handling it with some amount of care in VD, but also the general slowness of the treetop megatherium makes it very difficult to really be spotted. You are all moving well. Yours continues chittering and scratches at itself in places that almost make each of you feel like it's trying to get at you, Fa and Glacé. And it makes a little bit of noise, but the general stealthiness of the party is able to conceal most of the noise that your Glymera makes as you guys continue to shift away from whatever this massive creature was.
Gumball, stop being a bitch. You almost killed us.
So Fa just does stand up to do that. And everybody just gives her a dirty look, and she.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay. This is still amazing.
It's about another hour in that you guys now in the distance are able to see what looks to be like, it's not even in any sense because it's just fully natural, but just what looks like a massive wall of Aesop, what you had this conversation before, of infinity vines that stretches up practically to the top of the canopy itself.
Goodness. It's a terrible place to live.
There are very few rays of light that pierce through, not only through the canopy, but then through this wall of vegetation in front of you. And as you approach closer now, getting a few yards away from it, you can see that these infinity vine, as the chieftain mentioned, are covered in prickly thorns.
Oh, this is what we brought these things for, right?
Yes.
Well, what do you say, Reginald? Let's get to climbing.
The giant chameleon shifts over closer to the wall and stops.
Oh.
It looks like the just sheer thickness of this wall will make it impossible for any of your mounts to pass through.
Oh. What?
Well, they got us through the foliage, but I guess this is too much for them.
There was already a number of what looked to be patches of either vinework or infinity vines throughout the hours of the trek so far, but your mounts, along with your map, were able to keep you clear of most of it. This looks like an actual just almost sheer wall. It almost looks man-made in a strange way, but you can clearly tell it's from these infinity vines. As the chieftain mentioned, have probably not been tended to keep clear for some days now, and are thus overgrown. You feel like although your mounts are covered in barding, that even if they were able to make it somewhat in through the wall, that although you can't fully see through the entirety of it, that it's probably quite a few feet in thickness, and they would probably just get stuck.
Well, we can burn the vine.
Would fire help?
Could try to burn it, yes.
Knowledge checks are free.
Let's do
Nature.
nature check.
Can I do survival?
Sure.
Insight.
Insight on the vines.
Not insight.
Survival.
You get a bird. See.
I rolled a 12 on my last, now 3 survival checks.
You're really consistent with surviving.
Ooh, Rincaz! Double good boy!
Nice.
Another survival check.
I rolled a critical fail.
Ooh,
Oh, no.
bad boy.
Quick, Jason, use it. Use it before the session ends.
Make an animal
No, he
handling
can
check,
keep his,
Lasse.
'cause
Yeah.
Dang, turn!
You are
Inspiration.
you are eaten by the gigantic spider thing.
That's a total of 10.
Wait. I'd like to add something to that.
Oh,
Ooh.
There you go. It says a saving throw.
Okay.
If that would count.
Yes, Rincaz. That's a total of
I'll take it. What's the total?
14.
Okay. You don't fall off the Glymera as it shifts from one tree to another, gliding to get a closer look.
Stop being a bitch.
With your guys' collective checks, especially with yours, Rincaz, you guys are each able to come to the conclusion that, similar to what you saw back in Thornweald, using fire is probably a good way to quell the growth of the vineworks. Rincaz, you know that if it was controlled enough and had enough power to it, that you could use fire to blow a hole through a portion to crawl through. Otherwise, you feel like there would need to be... You're not just trying to quell the growth of it, you're trying to actually create passage through it, so you'll need something of considerable force. Whether that's a big fire spell or something else that would try to create a hole large enough for each of you to shift through. The barding would protect you and the mounts to get through, but you have to make it in the first place.
I think we can manage a fiery explosion or two.
You also know, Rincaz, that with your check, if you guys do use fire, that you'll want to be careful that the fire does not spread.
I have an endless... a decanter of endless water.
Perfect.
just in case.
Firefighter Glosse. So
These polyphasic grenades, chromatic orb, that I can.
nice. Chromatic. Oh, sorry. These grenades of yours.
Yes.
They would do the fire damage we need. And VD, I know you can do that wall of fire thing. Yes.
I can make a bonfire. I can make a wall of fire. I can also maybe put fire out with
However, I would explain prestidigitation.
Sure.
Oh, you know what? I have this. I have this item that I don't know exactly. Let's see. It's a big, wondrous item I have.
The Rod of Wonder.
No. Well, we do have that.
Oh, let's use it. Can we just use it just because?
Oh. Who has it?
Not me.
Not it.
Do I
Did
have
he-
it?
Did
What
he
are we
want
looking
it?
for?
Did he
I'm
want
sorry?
it to take it with her?
The Rod of Wonder.
No,
Oh,
no.
I
One
don't
of you guys had it because you used it when you were tinkering around with the Terrace cart.
Yeah, I remember Aesop used it, but Aesop never owned it.
Can
was
we
the
just say
thing.
we threw it in his bag of holding? Just
Yes, yeah. Somebody has.
Oh,
it,
hey,
yeah.
look. We still have it. How about that?
I have the time sight wand.
Yes, you
Okay.
do,
No,
NVD.
no, that's
Yes, yes, you do.
Shut up, Jason. Shut up, Jason.
Oh, what's that do?
Oh, don't worry about it. It has
Okay.
something to do with.
bad. Oh, give me that wand.
Yeah,
Give
let's
me-
not talk about it.
Oh, you want this one?
No,
You don't want me to
your
hold
thing.
it
No,
anymore?
burn that. Don't actually leave it alone. Just
Oh,
give me-
okay.
wand of wonder or whatever.
Put
All
it
right,
away.
I pull out the Wand of Wonder.
I'll take
Which-
the other one.
No, you won't. You will
Oh.
not.
It's bad. You can go crazy. Everyone around you, everyone a mile around you, lose their minds.
I don't see the Wand of Wonder in the party belongings.
I mean, I keep like some specialty stuff in there, so I'm sure it's on one of your sheets.
Oh, it's also, if it's just the one from classic D&D, it's on D&D Beyond.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good. Then let's look it up on D.
yeah. That may have been one of the ones that I just let you guys keep on your sheets.
I'm
I'm just gonna add this to my bag of holding so we all
yeah.
have
Perfect.
it available.
Yeah, because I remember you using it on the Trask cart, and that was after Ileona left, so you'd still have it.
Boom,
So-
there you go.
This wand has 7 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend one of its charges and choose a target within 120 feet of you. The target can be a creature, an object, or a point in space. Roll 1d100 and consult the following table to discover what happens. Okay, well, let's roll the 1d100.
You
what the fuck
point
does this
the.
do?
Wait. Before you do that,
Yes.
I take one of my bombs, I pour in some reagents, and I draw a line of oil along the base of the vines where she's aiming.
Okay.
And then I run like 100 yards back.
So
Oh.
you crawling over with the giant chameleon, sort of just like at the level that you guys are traversing the treetops at, kind of make a strewn strand of oil across, and then quickly shift back through the treetops behind the Glimira that Fa and Glacé are on.
Ready?
You guys, Glacé, are about
Very
10
shit.
feet away from the wall of Vineworks, pointing the Wand of Wonder at this line of oil that
Wait.
Aesop has set up.
Wait. I don't want to be 10 feet away.
Okay, you can back up more if you'd like.
I want to back up, let's see. As far as Aesop is.
I mean, it's 100 feet, so...
Well, it's 120 feet range for this thing.
I run 100 feet away from Glacé.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you ready, Gumball? Are you ready, Fa?
You're 100 feet away, Glacé?
Yes.
Okay. In the distance, you see the wall of the Infinity Vines.
Okay. Now you have to say a magic word to make this work.
Bazoopal!
It's Bazoopal,
I don't believe
right? Now on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wait! Do we say Bazoopal on 3, or do we go 3 Bazoopal? Like,
3 Bazoopal.
okay, all right.
One,
That's why I like working with Aesop. He's very thorough with direction.
2.
Bazoopal!
I'll roll 1d slash roll 1d100. 35.
You die.
So that's gonna be. Oh,
And the
God.
animal appears in your stomach. Oh, you have to roll another D100.
Okay.
0 to 25.
It's a 4. 40. A
40?
rhinoceros. It's,
No,
no,
it's an elephant.
You watch
why
as
do I like elephants?
adjacent to the wall of the infinity vines, but appearing against the oil that Aesop had set up, a large elephant appears about 60 feet above the ground.
Oh, it's
What
a
in the
triple-
shit? Oh, I throw a parachute at it. I cast Feather Fall.
You cast Featherfall on it, Fa, and then watch it now, not quickly, slowly descending down towards the surface that is covered in massive vines and thorns.
What in the hell is happening right now?
Quick,
Pa-
and Vidi, cast Wall of Fire.
You want me to burn the elephant?
No, the wall.
Okay. I'll panic. Just throw both my arms toward it and cast it's a line of fire, like directly across that oil.
How big is this wall in VD?
All fire should pop up when I hit this macro.
You are really dark for a celestial.
Why? It's fine.
Wait.
Oh, it's gonna destroy the elephant.
Dragon fire.
The
Wall of fire is
The
60
oils-
long, 20 high, and 1 thick.
The oil's actually really powerful, by the way. Stuff that it coats deals an extra d6 fire damage for every die of fire damage it takes, so
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
there you go.
What
well.
was at the base of the wall?
You watch Nvidia and the
Oil.
rest of the party as a huge chunk of the vines explode and begin immolating in this wall of fire. Aesop and the rest of you see, especially where he put the oil, that it is quickly burning through, and you're almost able to, through the fire now, see where it is practically burnt like a hole through to the other side. However, you also see now that a huge chunk of the wall is lit aflame, and it continues to spread.
decanter. I have the decanter. I
Uh,
would like to.
do you still need this wall of flame? Because I can at least stop
Oh.
channeling what you don't, or what I can control.
We're probably good now.
Okay. At will snuff out that wall, or whatever I was controlling of that wall at this point.
The wall dissipates. There's only 2 or 3 spots now lit. Because of the speed in which Nvidia did this, Glace, with your decanter, you're able to put the flames out pretty easily.
Nice.
You now see sizzling, decent volume of smoke lifting off the infinity vines that, because of the oil that Aesop has put up, it has indeed burnt a hole right through to the other side. You also now, taking a second to watch here down below you,
Stop it! Stop it! No! Just die! Shut up! No! I don't want to get
There's a forest whale.
Shh. He belongs to nature now. Let's get going.
I never want to use that wand again.
Forest whale.
I take the wand from Glace and put it back in my bag and just pat her on the shoulder and say, until next time we need
No.
to use it.
Ezra turns to you, Aesop, and Rincaz and says, "It would have been good meat."
Oh, you're right. It probably would have been so much tasty red meat.
But we don't have a
What was
place to
that?
store it.
We should get going.
And with that,
Nice.
trying not to look down at whatever's left of the elephant, struggling, getting caught in the vine work that makes up the base of the tangle timber. You guys begin using the barding as a shield to protect them from the smaller thorns of the infinity vine wall, pushing through the hole that you guys have made using the quick thinking of Envidi and Aesop. Are able to
Is that what it was?
the random thinking of Aesop and Envidi
Two
push
separate plans that coexisted for a second.
push through to the other side, and that is where we will call this session.
All right.
Wow.
You guys feel like you're about halfway there at this point. 10 or so hours have passed.
Such a long trip. Daddy, are we there yet?
I'm glad we took that nap.
Wow, you
Do
guys
we
did
just-
good.
Do we just rip an elephant from its home across the plains and then
I don't know what all
Burn
this.
it alive.
I don't know what all this "we" is about, but
It was the wand.
I saw you do it. I saw
I
it
don't know.
happen.
I seem to remember you arcing back and throwing one of those grenades of yours.
I didn't. What?
No, yeah, you were like saying some mumbo jumbo, and you slowly lowered the elephant into the flames.
How could you?
I tried to save it. You blew it up. You bastard.
I first of all, Envidi blew it up, not me.
In
Everyone
my
stop finger pointing.
in my defense, I don't necessarily blow things up. I either immolate it or radiate it into uncomfortable death. But I didn't blow it up.
Right. You're all right. Glace was the one that summoned it in the first place. It's their fault.
I remember.
I'm gonna go to hell.
Oh my goodness.
Not if you don't sell your soul to a devil, you won't.
I don't want to sell my soul to a devil.
Well, we'll see about that. Thank you, everybody, for coming and watching and hanging out with us. Thank you, Looney, for stopping by, the VIP Looney. It's very nice of you guys. Thank you, Angel of Light, Lurks, VNK, Virgo Pros. It's very nice of you guys to stop in. Those of you who are not bots, thank you, those of you who are bots. Yes, I appreciate it. If you guys missed any of this and want to watch more, the VOD is always down below on our Twitch, or wherever it is on Twitch in our video section. All the details on our Twitch page about your loyalty points and cool stuff that you can earn if you hit the follow button or subscribe, either one, are down below, and you can find out. You get a whole bunch of cool stuff that you can use for all kinds of interesting things. It's the panel that shows you the things that you can get for following and stuff like that. If you click on that one, you'll be taken over to the page that shows you all the cool gifts you can buy. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. You get cool stuff. Thank you for joining us. If you want to watch on YouTube, we put it up on our God Mode page there too, so check it out if you missed any episodes. Thank you, everybody. Keep an eye out on our Twitter after this, where we'll be releasing the question of the week, and we'll be giving out a digital gift card to whoever who answers that correctly. So yes, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.